we're looking at a polynomial here, and we're asked to factor. So what I have, it's not a simple one. We have rational exponents here that we're going to have to factor. And if this, for example, if this was a 2 and this was a 3, then we would do factor by grouping and factor that the lowest one, which would be the 2. Well, here it's really the same procedure. We're still going to figure out which one of these is smaller, the 1/5. So I'm going to factor out this 3y minus 13 to the 1/5 power, because that's my greatest common factor between these two terms here. Because this is one term and this is another term. And I notice they have this group in common, so let's just factor that greatest common factor out. 3y minus 13 to the 1/5 power. Now what does that leave us with? Well, remember, when you're factoring the greatest common factor, you're really dividing. You're dividing by it. So this divided by this, well, that just becomes 1, and I'm left with that 9y. So it's going to be times 9y. Okay. Then remember, we're factoring that greatest common factor out of this one too. So I'm going to be left with that 2. But then we just need to figure out what's going to be left here when I factor out this 3y minus 13 to the 1/5 power. When we divided, right here they canceled each other out, but here when we divide, remember, you subtract your exponents. So it's going to be 6/5 minus 1/5, which is 5/5, and 5/5 is 1. So I'm left with 3y minus 13. And I don't know why it keeps wanting to go out of focus on me. But now again, what happened here? And in case you're not sure what happened, let me see if I can write it to the side here. What we did, we took this 3y minus 13 to the 6/5, and we factored out that 3y minus 13 to the 1/5. Okay, we factored it out. So this is dividing, and remember what we do when we divide, what we do with our exponents, we subtract them. And then 6/5 minus 1/5, if you remember how to subtract fractions, that's 6 minus 1, which is 5. 5 over 5 is 1. So that's what happened here. So that would be to the first power. All right, well, let's go back and we can simplify a little more. So I have 3y minus 13 to the 1/5 times 9y, and then we can distribute here. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6y. Negative 2 times a negative 13 is a plus 26. 9y minus 6y is 3y plus 26. And there's really not anything else I can do with this to the 1/5 power. Other than you could put it a 5th root, but I think we're fine with this right here, which is 3y minus 13, just to make it a little clearer. And this is a 3y plus 26. Almost looks like a negative there. That's actually the tail of my y. So that would be our final factored form for, let me put my parenthesis there, for this particular problem.